Hello everyone, I'm Aino Lumidala and I'm here again. I'm here on fixed asset model. It's not going to be a full model just for us to depreciate, enter an asset and how to depreciate and some things you need to know about fixed asset. If you are requested for this, that is why we're trying to, um, that's why we're pushing it out there for you to also learn from. It's not that this will be the end of the fixed asset. We are still going to come out with another fixed asset training so that you can learn from. It's going to be the full package. But for this purpose, there is just a little insight of what a fixed asset should look like. Then also, I have a little issue with my recorder. So I don't know if anyone has a very good recorder that is free that could also show my face or um, be a little bit clearer than this should help me. I've been having issues with this Cam Studio. Yeah, so if you have another one, please just recommend so that I can download. All right, thank you very much. Yeah, business of the day. I'll fix that set. We've been hearing fixed asset, we've been seeing fixed asset, but do we actually know what a fixed asset is? For me, I would say fixed asset is that tangible thing um, that is being turned um, to something that I could enjoy or gain from. Yeah. What I mean in essence is that thing that is valuable to me, that thing that that can be used to earn another thing for me, that thing that I know I can derive another value from. Yeah, that's just a basic thing I'll call an asset. Then when I talk about fixed asset, now with that value or with that thing that I can derive a value from that is more than a year, yeah, that is existence. Uh, or let me say the value it provides is more than a year, so it's not within a year. So and also it can't easily be converted into cash. That thing it can't be easily converted into cash. So those are the things you should take notes about. But let me just give you a little write up I've done about that so that we can all see what a fixed asset looks like. Now, I would say my fixed asset. Yeah, what is an asset? A useful or valuable thing or person. That is an asset. An asset is a resource with economic value that an individual, corporation, or country owns or controls with the expectation that it will provide a future benefit. Assets are reported on a company's balance sheet and are bought or created to increase a firm's value or benefit the firm's operation. So if you look at basically what I've said here is that it has an economic value for someone. Yeah, it has an economic value for someone that controls or owns it. Yeah, with the aim that it will provide a future benefit. That is, provide more benefit to that person. And I would say assets. Okay, that's that about asset. But what about the fixed assets? Before you said something about the asset. Now, the fixed asset is almost the same thing. I would say it is the same thing you own and control with the mind of any value, not easily converted into cash. It is not easy for you to convert it into cash. Yeah. It's not easy for you to convert it into cash. You can't just clap your hand and say, "Oh, go and sell that thing for me. Let me have it in cash." Yeah. So those are the things you should know. But let me just give a reading about it now. Now, what is a fixed asset? Fixed assets are purchased for long-term use and not likely to be converted quickly into cash, such as your land. your buildings, and your equipment. Fixed asset is a long-term tangible piece of property that a firm owns or uses in its operation to generate income. Fixed assets are not expected to be consumed or converted into cash within a year. Fixed assets are known as property, plant, and equipment. So that is just the basic thing about your asset and fixed asset. But this your asset and fixed asset, you make some expenditures on it. You make you try to increase its present value. Yeah, you may try to increase its present value so that the the value is giving you as at now, or the value you expect to give in future should be more than that. Yeah. So you're making some expenses on it. So that is what will bring us to two types of expenses that you could do on your fixed asset. And what are these type of expenses? Capital expenditure. Yeah. You can do a capital expenditure on it and a revenue expenditure. Yeah. When I say capital expenditure, you you could consider the additional cost of bringing in that asset into the premises. Yeah, you could consider the installation fee. So those are the capital expenditure. You want to try as much as possible to capitalize it, because it's also going to help you in generating additional income. Yes, you can't just buy let me say an office equipment now. Then you need to install it. Then someone is telling you have to pay a certain amount of money. Then you just look at it and say, then let it be like that. So when it's like that, it can be used. So when it's like that, it can be used, and so you don't expect it to generate an income to you. That is for capital expenditure. But when it comes to revenue expenditure, revenue expenditure that just normal maintenance that you do. So this is not bringing in income. This is not adding value to that. But because of what it has used over the year, so there is need for you to do a kind of repair on it. There's need for you to pay salaries that uses it. So those things are now referred to as a revenue expenditure. So let me just read what that is. What's capital expenditure? Capital expenditure include costs incurred on the acquisition of a fixed asset and any subsequent expenditure that increases the earning capacity of an existing fixed asset. Yeah. Now, the actual purchase cost, mhm, the delivery cost, the installation cost. Now, what about revenue expenditure? This is incurred on fixed assets, include costs that are aimed at maintaining rather than enhancing the earning capacity of the asset. These are costs that are incurred on a regular basis, and the benefit from this cost is obtained over a relative a short period of time. That is repair cost, renewal expenses. So these are the things you need to also understand about your fixed asset. So you just have to be careful when you're dealing with your fixed asset. Now going back into the application, I told you the last time that I discussed, maybe in our initial training, we talked about how the modules are divided into sections. Then we talked about the maintenance, we talked about the transactions, inquiries, report. Now, what we'll look at here is maintenance and transactions, so that we can just quickly move on. Now, what is maintenance? Like I said, this is where your configuration, your setup is being done. So you need to do some setup that are related to your fixed asset. I'm going to be picking them one after the other. Now, basically, before your fixed asset can work, you need what we call accounting period. Accounting period year on your fixed asset is a separate period. It is it's because it's standalone. It's you can use the fixed asset without any of the module. Yeah, without any of the module, you can use the fixed asset. Now, so what Sage has been able to do is to make sure that it is more independent. So before it can be able to add an asset, before you can be able to depreciate, you need an accounting period. So that accounting period has to be set up. Yeah, it's definitely it may be the same thing. Yeah, it depends on the implementation that you're trying to do for your customer or for your client. It may be the same thing with your core module financial accounting period. Yeah, it can be the same thing. But this what we are saying is that for me to be able to depreciate, I have to set up my accounting period. It may be the same thing, it may not be the same thing. It depends on what you are trying to achieve on the system. So this is when I click this, it's just for me to set up my accounting period on the system. Now we've been able to set up like 2 years here. If you look at it, this is 2016, this 2017. This for each of the period I have January, February, March, April, May, June. That's period one, period two, period three, period four. Now, maybe in my next training, I'm going to explain to you um, monthly, then also period, because many people always ask me this question: that what is the different? What's the difference between monthly and period? Yeah, I've gotten that question so many times. So now period and monthly. Then if you need to add, all you just need to do is come here, click add. Then you have the year, that is the financial year. Those periods are going to be in the year. Then when do you want the financial year to start? So you state the financial year when you want it to start. So if I want it to start this date, let me assume this date anything in January. Okay, then I want to start this date in January. And how do you want the system to generate its date or to post its transaction? Do you want it last day of the month? That is the last day of each month or each period. Last day of the month. Last, that's when you decide that is it Monday, which of day of the month. So you can also select which day of that particular month. You could say you want it to be done on a Friday, you want it to be done on a Sunday, you want that is the last Sunday of the month, the last Friday of the month, last Tuesday of the month. Now, specific day. You can also specify a day that is you're not looking at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but you're looking at 25th of every month. Yeah, 25th of every month, um 15th of every month, like that. So for this training purpose, let's use last day. But so 2018, and I click on OK. Yeah, it's just giving a warning message. The start date of the year will be calculated from the end date of the previous year. And so it is calculated from a previous month. So from a previous year, this is the year we did the last year. So it's telling us that whatever we have done here is irrelevant, except we remove all this. So if you remove all this and click again, so it's generated from there. So it is from there it starts. So it's just telling you that it's going to start its date from the previous year. Then you just click on OK. So you've generated for another year. That is how to do your accounting period. Now going into asset types. What is asset types? Asset types are grouped of assets, group of assets. You decide that you want to group your assets together. Now, what are the kind of assets we are talking about? We are talking about your computers. You are talking about your laptops. You're talking about your what is it called? Your conference table, your executive chairs, those are assets. Then you're talking about your generators, you're talking about that machine you use in producing. So those are assets. Those are types of assets. No, those are assets. Now, when you say asset types now means you want to group them according to similarities. Yeah, office equipment. You believe that these equipment are used within the office, so you want to group them according to that. If it is plant and machinery, you want to group them according to that. So those are the things you need to consider when you are doing your asset. Then also when you are grouping it, you need to also group it based on the numbers of years. Okay, maybe when we get that we'll be able to understand better. So let me just pause on that. So that is grouping on your asset. Now I'm trying to look at another thing that is very important to you. Another thing that is very, very important is depreciation method. One common term used in depreciation in fixed asset is depreciation. You need to depreciate your asset every month. That is the transactions. That is the main essence of having a fixed asset. Yeah, there are so many reasons why you might want to use a fixed asset, but this is one of the major reasons. Now, what is depreciation? Depreciation to me, I'll call it a continuous wear and tear of an equipment or of a fixed asset. Yeah, the amount you bought it today, you bought it at a particular period, you bought it at a particular cost. You used it over 5 years. Each year, each year, the condition of that asset is not the same thing. Take it or leave it. It is not the same thing. You are using it, even if you don't use it, you just dump it somewhere. Definitely, the condition is not the same. Well, let's just look at you've been using it. So the value at which it produces today will be different from the value it's going to produce tomorrow. There are some machineries like that. So you depend. So you are trying to say, okay, what cost? What cost am I looking at for the assets? Uh, should have depreciated or should have reduced in value or increased in value. Well, there are two things. But this is depreciation, so reduced in value. Now, what cost? So, how do I determine the cost? How do I determine the cost that okay, this particular asset has been able to reduce in value for this particular year? Another year it has also reduced in value for this particular year. Within that same year, it has been able to reduce in value every day. But accounting has been able to say we should treat it every period of the financial year. So you need to consider that every financial period. So that is that about your depreciation. But there are methods at which we can achieve this. What are the methods? We have what we call the straight line. We have straight line, we have reducing balance, we have zero digit, we have plant and machinery immediate write off, and so many things, and so many like that. So let me just click it so that we can see the different depreciation method that we may have. So I just click that. Now this comes with the default. Now then I decide to add. Now you need to specify the name you want to call this depreciation method you are trying to create. Then the system is now telling you, okay, this depreciation method that you want to create. You there is nowhere for you to start computing. There is nowhere for you to write a command that okay, divide this by this, multiply by this by this. The system has a predefined computation already. So it has a predefined computation already. So it is within that you are going to choose your accounting depreciation method, your fixed asset depreciation method. So it is from these. For instance, I have I have a fixed asset. Now, your fixed asset has to be based on their groups. For instance, your depreciation method has to be based on their group. For instance, I have my plant and my machine. No, don't let me use plant and machinery. I have office equipment. I think that's the easy. I have my office equipment that is meant to last for 5 years. Yeah, I have my asset that is meant to last for 5 years. Okay, maybe I should just explain this to you first. Okay, the terms that will be used in fixed assets. Please take note of this. These are the terms or these are the things you are going to be considering in fixed asset. When you have an asset, you purchase it, right? Now let's look at an asset. We are looking at a laptop. I purchased a laptop at, let's say, 200,000 naira. I purchased a laptop for 200,000 naira. I'm not going to make um, mention of any brand. So I purchased an asset, a fixed asset for 200,000 naira, which is my laptop. Now, that laptop, looking at it, I know that this laptop, or based on the company policy, we are meant to use a laptop for, let's say, 5 years before we can write off or sell off. Now, 5 years. So, 5 years, 200,000 naira, it is the purchase price or the asset cost price. Yeah, that is the asset purchase price. Now, 5 years is the lifespan, useful lifespan of the asset, useful lifespan of the asset. Then we have what is also called salvage value. Salvage value is an estimated value. Some call it scrap value, some call it salvage value, some call it residual value. Yeah, estimated or expected value of the asset at the end of its useful life. Maybe after 5 years, I know that, oh, men looking at the assets, yeah, I've been able to use it over 5 years. So the value should not be more than 1,000 naira. So it depends on the company policy. The company policy may tell you, okay, after 5 years, we don't even need it again. So let's just say 10 naira. So some may even say, okay, 100 naira. Some might say 1,000 naira. So it depends on your company policy based on that. So now, so I've been able to mention some terms to you. I've been able to mention and explain your purchase cost price, which is your asset price. I've been able to mention your salvage value, your useful life, sorry, useful life of the asset, then depreciation. I've been able to mention depreciation. So these are the things that you need to also consider as terms used in your fixed asset. Now, what are the determinants of the depreciation? Those things I've mentioned are determinants of the depreciation. Purchase price, useful life, salvage value. Yeah. Now, there are so many methods at which we can use this determinant for. We have straight line. Straight line is very easy. It is straightforward. On a straight line of 5 years, on a straight line of 5 years, I want the asset to be able to depreciate with equal value. Please take note of that. With equal value. Now, I have another one as equal allowance. Then somebody will ask me, then what if that is unequal value? Then why do I will have equal allowance? Equal allowance is the same thing. The only difference is that straight line uses percentage. Why your equal value uses years, numbers of years. Yeah. For instance, let me say, how many percent can I get in 5 years? That is, if I want to make it equal value, percentage for, let's say, I say, okay, 5 years. I want this asset to depreciate for 5 years. If I'm going to use percentage, what do I do? Just say your 100, which is 100%, then divide that 100% by 5 years. Yeah, 100% divided by 5 years. What would that give us? That's 20. No, not 20. Okay, let's make it easier so we don't start having decimal points or something like that. Don't let us start having decimal points. Let's say 4 years. Okay, for 4 years, what is the number? How many percent can I get for 4 years? That is 25%. What I'm just doing is 100 divided by 4 years. Yeah. So which means every year I must have 25%, 25%, 25%, which means the assets every year must have been depreciated by 25%. So which means every month the asset must have depreciated by 25 divided by 12. So these are the things you just need to consider. So it is the same thing. You are just only saying specifying that your straight line is in 25%. You are specifying that the equal allowance is 4 years. Okay, let's use an example to make it clearer. I have 100,000. Okay, let me use the same asset of 200,000. So 200,000. Then we decide that okay, the scrap value is 100 naira. So it is 200,000 minus 200,000 minus 100 naira. That is depreciable amount. Instead of me using the whole 200,000, I'm not using the whole 200,000. I want to also consider the scrap value. So when I'm considering the scrap value, it is 200,000 minus 100 naira. So I have a value which is considered as a scrap, as a depreciable amount. So it is that amount that I will spread all over the numbers of years, which is the useful life of the assets. So 200,000 minus 100,000 will give me 199,900. Then I divide it using a straight line method. I divide it by 4 years, which is 49,975 naira. So which means this same value is the value, this 49,000 must accumulate to this amount every year. Then which means it has to be splitted over numbers of periods. So numbers of periods I have is 12, which means every month or every period I have 4,164 naira. Or okay, if I'm going to consider the decimal, 4,164.58 naira. So those are the things you need to consider when talking about your depreciation. Now, okay, now let's now go back to see if it's going to be the same thing when I decide using my 199,900 now divided by 25%. 199,900 then divided by 25. So if I need to do this, I'll just say what is 25% of 199,900. So I have 49,975. At the same thing, divide this guy by 12. So I have 4,164.5. So which means you can see that it is the same thing. So if you find 25% of the depreciable amount, should give you the same thing when you say the depreciable amount divided by the numbers of the useful life, which is 4 years. You should get the same value system. So that is that about that. Then equal. Okay, that goes for straight line and also equal allowance. Now, reducing balance. Reducing balance is very straightforward. On every balance you get every year, you are using percent that percentage given, because that is the useful life given, which means there will be a percentage given that you should use to always depreciate, which is the rate, depreciation rate. Okay, that's another thing you just need to consider. So depreciation rate could be given. So that depreciation rate is what you are using to reduce the balance every year. So I have that. I know that, okay, every year I get a different depreciable amount. For instance, 200,000 minus 100 naira, that becomes my depreciable amount. I get my depreciable amount. Then if the asset is for, let's say, 10% as a depreciation rate, which means I find the 10% of that amount, then I remove, that is the total asset I've been able to get for that particular period. I remove that amount from the balance. Yeah, I remove that amount from I remove that new value from, so whatever value I'm getting, so it is reducing. So every period it is reducing until uh, it finishes. So it's like whatever I have in my previous year will be different from what I'm going to have in my second year. So, but at the end of the day, when I sum everything up together, they should still end up as my total depreciable amount. So everything, whatever method you are going to be using, by the time you accumulate everything, it's still going to give you the same depreciable amount, whatever method. It's just that it's just that the period at which you are depreciating, it's different. So the value you get is different. It's different from each other. But at the end of the year, or at the end of the useful life, they should all equal the same thing. They should be the same thing. Now, so units of usage. So what is unit of usage? This is another method that the system considers as um what's it called? How would I explain it? You are considering your depreciation in proportion of what they produce. Yeah, that is that asset. You are considering the depreciation in proportion of what that asset produce. For instance, it's always stated there are some machineries that you know that, oh, they can only work for 20,000 hours. Those assets can only work for 20,000 hours. So when you use it, how many hours have you been able to use it for? If you have been able to use, okay, for instance, I use it today, and I use it in a day, and I've been able to use let's say 5 hours today. So which means 5 hours has been removed from 20 hours, 20,000 hours. So you can see that that is now being considered based on what is it called, the hours it has been able to use. So we call that unit of usage. So you need to just go and read more about this so that you can be able to like understand better. Then plants and machinery also. Plants and machinery, you just consider the total life asset in years. So the asset has to be considered. So these are things you just say. Now your immediate write-off, instead of you spreading the depreciation or depreciable amount across the numbers of years, you are only writing it off at once. You are writing it off in the first year or in the first, so you are writing it off immediately. Immediately, don't let me use the years now. You are writing it off immediately. Immediately you buy it or you start using it. Yeah. So you don't want to start considering it over a period of time. Then also you don't want to depreciate the asset at all. You want it to be on 0%. So these are just the different methods. So whatever method you have chosen here depends on whatever you are. So this allows you for numbers of years. This allows you for percentage. Yeah. Now initial percent, the total unit. This is the aspect I'm telling you of. When you use this becomes active. So you just need to give how many hours or how many things do you believe that the system, the that your particular asset can produce. So you use that. So for this reason, for this training purpose, we may be using one of these. So let's just use one of these. Um, or let me see another one. I just want to use a straight line, then 3 years, straight line 3 years. So I'm using straight line 3 years on this. Now, going back, now it also depends. So now I just said straight line 3 years. So you can decide that okay, for my fixed assets, you want to break it down. You could have some fixed assets in 3 years, you may have some assets in 2 years, and you want to group so that it is easy for someone to always identify the depreciation method. So all you just need when you are entering, consider what you want to enter. I can say fixed asset 3 years. Sorry, I can consider, for instance, furniture and fitting. I can say furniture and fittings 3 years. So anybody that is picking it or anybody that is entering, we know that oh, this particular depreciation method is for furniture and fittings. Let me just do that so that we don't. Let me just right click this and copy this guy. Okay, I'm using this. Let me just say furnitures, fittings, fittings. Let me just say this. So I've chosen as a straight line. It's not going to be. It's going to be on percent. So now for this, now for 3 years, so I need to go back to this guy. I need to go back to this guy. So you can decide to create different locations. Override. Override just means maybe after you have set up the asset, you believe that you want to change the accounting, the depreciation method or the depreciation rate. So you can decide that you want to change that. Some things, the period at which the useful life of the asset. So all you just need to do is click and just come here and change which is the period and other things like that. So now please let's move on. I want to try as much as possible to close on time on this. Now also there is something that is very important for you to understand, which is the default. Now default. Now for every setup that you do, you must also go to your default to go and do some things. These are the numbers, the period in years, so you need to also specify this because I've chosen 12. That is why when I'm creating my accounting period, it's going to generate 12 periods for me. Then also I come down to okay, let me say integration. Yeah, this is integration. This is when you want to integrate your assets, yeah, your asset transactions into. Now listen, it is just the posting aspect of it, it's just the transaction, the posted aspect. You are integrating it to what, the only thing you're integrating it into is your general ledger. So when you're integrating, is either you choose Paster Partner. Paster Partner is another product of Sage is just another product of Pastel. Now you choose local, which means on this system. So you choose local, then you choose the local integration, which is the depreciation journal batch. So you must have created the depreciation journal batch. So you create the depreciation journal batch. So every time you depreciate, it comes to this what's it called? It comes into the journal that you have chosen. Yeah. So it comes, so you can always go back to your general ledger to see it. So that is what this is meant to do. Now I'll go back there. Oh, sorry, there's something, another important thing. Now take on period. Now, when do you want the system to generate the first period? Now, because you could be having assets before the implementation of Sage Pastel, and you want to consider all those balances. So you've entered all those balances, you have entered everything, and you want to tell the system that, oh, next time you want to depreciate, start from this so period. So it is that period that you're going to choose. So it's going to neglect every other thing and start from this particular period you choose here. Yeah, it's going to start from this period to start depreciating its assets. So those are the things you also need to take note of. Um, Now, okay, asset. Then you now need to register your asset. You need to come here and register the asset. For instance, I have one here that I've registered. I want to try as much as possible to round off on time. Yeah, so we have this created as furnitures and fittings. So let me assume that now. Oh, sorry, there's another thing I need to let you know before coming to your asset. Um, Asset types. Yeah, after doing your depreciation method, you need to come to asset type. That is grouping of your asset. Now it is there you have to attach your depreciation method. So then at this point you attach your depreciation method. You attach your depreciation method, you also attach your what's it called? Let me use the one that has not been used, maybe office furniture and fit. Let me just use one of these now. Okay, for instance, is this the now the depreciation ledger account. This is where you specify your accumulated depreciation, where you specify your depreciation expense. So you just pick your account here. This is where you pick your account. Now this is the book depreciation amount. So depreciation method that we created. So if you look at it, the one we created is this. So without you creating or trying to modify whatever you want to modify here, this can be done. So you always come here to then also you can also specify your fixed asset ledger account. That is the fixed asset ledger account. So now I think those are just the basic thing I believe I should be able to tell you on the system. Now I come down here to let me come down here, depreciation method. Now asset. Now this is my asset. This is where you now define your asset. This is where you define your asset, the purchase date. You define your asset, the purchase date, then sorry. I'm going to explain all this in when we get to everything about fixed asset. I'm going to still explain, but like I said earlier, it's just for the purpose of request. That is why we are making this video. So when we get to, because we have a course outline we are trying to follow. So when we get to that level, we are going to learn everything regarding your fixed asset. So these are just where you set up your start date. When do you want it to start? You have a residual value, like I said, you want to impute. So then also then the same thing goes to your tax depreciation. Everything related to it, you just pick it there. So when you're done, you just click on OK. Okay, purchase price is asking me for a purchase price. Let's say 200,000. 200,000. Then I click on OK. Oh, Let me see what it's trying to say. That's just a warning message. Okay, so I don't see anything there. So that is that about creating your asset. Now, if you want to depreciate, all you just need to do is go to your transactions, come down to your transactions, then GL depreciation batch. All this will still be explained, but let's just use this 1, 2, 3 because I've not been able to set up what's it called, my GL integration. So I don't expect it to take it to anywhere. It will only post because it's standalone. So I'm using this like a standalone as that now. Then mm, sorry, I'm expecting some this to be active. Also, what is happening now? So, but maybe there is a particular setup we've not done. So let me try to see. Um, let me see this. Let me see this. I don't think she should be this. So many things we could have considered, but let me just. Oh, what did we choose? Oh, this. We've not gotten to that date, so let me see. Sorry. Let me assume. I think that's where the issue is. There's nothing for it to generate. Let me go back there to account my assets. Let me see. Okay. When do I want to start depreciating? Oh, look at. Let me. Let me. I said you should want to do, and that's the only asset that we have. Let me just pick. Okay, let's pick the same date. 13. Okay, I see. Okay, maybe that's why it's giving. Okay, now let's go back. Let's go back there. Okay, test 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh. Mm, I need to just look at so many things now. Let me exit and log in. I'm seeing something here. Okay, so just try that on your own. I think my timing is up now. So try that on your own and let's see what you can achieve with that. So all you just need to do is just specify a period at which you want to generate, then the system brings it up. I'll just because I wanted us to be able to close this thing on time, that is why I can be looking at that for now. So thank you very much. And don't hesitate to practice. Let me have your feedback on it. So thank you and God bless you. My name still remains I know him the online. God bless.